recording.
Oh.
There we go. So we'll defer
Right.
the consortium planning until the senator can make it.
Yeah, sorry, I thought, I apologize. I thought we were already, so we will defer that, and I am having trouble scrolling through the rest of today. Oh, because I don't control it. Okay. So as far as work groups, I don't know, have any work groups met since our last planning meeting?
I can tell you the settlement group just met as a small team to plan for the summer, and they're working on what their path forward is. But we
Okay.
haven't met as a big group. We met a week ago Monday.
And I don't believe any of the other three groups met either, correct?
No.
Okay. Well, anyone who if any of the, I know that at least one of the other work group members is on the line. If anyone wants to chime in with any update from their work group, please feel free to do that. But I don't think that anything formal in terms of any of them has happened since our last planning group meeting. Jeff, I don't know if you wanted to add anything for social determinants.
No, I mean, we're working through the agenda now. It's kind of evolving just due to timing of certain things going on. But we plan on having a meeting on the 14th, and we do have topics that are going to be talked about and addressed. So we'll probably have something more formal finalized next Friday, because obviously the loose template of the agenda is out, just kind of working on the presenters and the conversation, but we're good to go on the 14th.
Great.
May I jump in now?
Sure.
I wanted to share that, so I'm grateful for everyone's support for the developmental screening through our social determinants of health work group. The bill has been filed and it's being heard. It will be introduced by Representative Williams at the House Education Committee meeting on the 8th or 9th. I believe it's the 9th. So I'll check that and put that in the chat. So just grateful for everyone's advocacy for that. That's very exciting. And also it's exciting to hear about the $10 million for Reading recommendations. Do we know what the allocations are? So for example, the recommendation for expanding ECAP was for 600 children and it was for $8 million, but I know that JFC approved funding for 300 children. So do we know, like that's just one of the items, do we know what the actual allocations are of the 10 million for the recommendations?
We do not yet, no. It was passed, well, nothing's official till the actual bill is passed, but the Joint Finance Committee's recommendation was that, my understanding from listening to it was that it was going to be a plan that was to be agreed upon by the Joint Finance Committee chairs and the Controller's Office and the Office of Management and Budget. And as you indicated, it's not the amount. I mean, $10 million is phenomenal,
Sure,
but
yes.
it's not the full amount that we had put in our plan. So there are some decisions that have to be made about how to allocate the money given that. So that has yet to be done.
Thank you. So I see, thank you, Kelly, for popping that into the chat. So it is Representative Williams who is introducing the developmental screening bill. So that will be at the House Education meeting on June 9th. And I'll put the link to the bill in the chat. So whoever can be there, that's wonderful. It's a pretty full agenda that day. There are a lot of items I believe that we would support. So thank you.
Thanks, Dawn, and thanks for all your help getting these recommendations together. I do think that the fact that the recommendations were so detailed and had that much work and evidence behind them had a lot to do with the fact that that they ended up getting that much support from the Joint Finance Committee, and you had a lot to do with that. So thank you.
It's
And
certainly
I-
a pleasure.
Yes, I agree with that, Dawn. And I just put in the chat the link to the House and the Senate Education Committee, so you can sign up if you want to give public comment or view the meetings.
And then, I see there's a couple of questions on the agenda about whether the co-chairs have meetings. And as of yet, I don't think those meetings are set. I know that there's been efforts made to schedule them. And the 21st is drawing near, but I don't think that any of them have been scheduled yet. So that is a good reminder that needs to get done. For public engagement, who should I turn things over to for that?
I can jump in. For any ideas for the June newsletter, you can send to Haley. It usually comes out about a week before the consortium meeting. So it'll come out around the 14th. And then once we have the specifics for the FY22 budget, we can start creating a one-pager on all of that. So that's the public engagement.
Okay, great. And the answer to the other question is, in terms of a one-pager, we absolutely want to do that once we know what to put on the one-pager, which we don't yet. It'll all be good. We just need to make sure that we know the specifics.
Absolutely.
Well, most of what we have to do is obviously focused on our meeting on the 21st. Is there anything just under the, well, let me first see if there's any members of the public who wanted to offer any comment on anything. We're not fancy here, so you could just jump in if you would like to. And more broadly, if there's anyone who is not a member of the public who wants to bring something up, now would be the time to do it. Okay. Well, I think the fact that we have a relatively short agenda today is due in large part to the fact that we were able to accomplish one of our major objectives, at least for the first part of the year. So it's not the worst thing in the world to be waiting on the details of how we were successful. And hopefully between now and next week, we will get these meetings scheduled with the work group co-chairs so that we're able to be in good shape for our full meeting on the 21st.
Matt, I'll just add one comment about the agenda for the next full body consortium meeting. If in fact the expectation is going to be that superintendents talk about their ESSER3 funding plan, where they are with that, I think by next Friday, if that's going to be an agenda item and the question should be ready to go, to give them time to prepare so they're not like caught off guard if they walk into the meeting, or if they're not able to make it, they'll be able to have a representative or share. So I think by next week, that would be probably a good thing to finalize and push out to that group.
That's a good idea. That's the kind of thing, if I were a superintendent, I'd want to have some lead time for. Is it likely that they will have answers to those questions by then?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, let me just rephrase that. They'll have an answer to the question. What the answer is will vary, and it might not be necessarily what people expect to hear at this stage. So so there is an answer to that question, and it's all depending on where everybody is and the people asking it, what they're looking for the answer. So I can say that confidently. I mean, I could answer it right now for Colonial, and I'm sure everybody else could, but it might not be necessarily the answers people are looking for. So the questions that they're looking for, whatever the consortium is looking for, need to be really tailored to that, or you're going to get a kind of variety of responses. So that would be my only suggestion.
Well, that's actually very helpful. And Haley, if you have time, maybe you could, to Jeff's point, maybe you could put together and send to me and Senator Lockman. And maybe to Jeff as well, since he's a superintendent and could tell us if we're missing the mark. Sort of a template for what we would send them to, that we would like them to talk about, just so that we've thought that through and we're not scrambling to do that.
Absolutely. I will work with our team to pull some together and get them to you early next week.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeff. That's an excellent point.
Yeah, because I know that's going to be a big topic of discussion. And it's coming out in a lot of different circles. So I think asking the right questions help tee up the path forward for everybody.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, I want to be respectful of everyone's time. So unless someone else wants us to go over something today, then I'll pause for that purpose. Then everyone, please have a great weekend, and we'll try to get our homework done between now and the next meeting, and see you next week.
Yep. See you later. Thanks, Matt.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Kelly. Thanks all.